first of all, be sure to check out part 1 where we covered local weather folklore. That portion of the winter outlook, that'll be posted to the News Channel 9 Facebook page, also to my YouTube and Facebook page as well, as will this video. This portion we focus on the global patterns that could impact this winter and what we're going to be watching. Once again, we're going to have a La Nina pattern developing, which means cooler than average waters off the coast of South America, which impacts the global pattern and the flow of the jet stream. Typically, that means the jet stream flows a little bit farther north. We tend to be a little bit milder and also at times a little bit wetter. However, this is a weak La Nina. It doesn't tend to follow that similar trend. Weak La Ninas can be less predictable. I bring that up because last year was a prime example of that. I had much success the past several years, but this past winter weather forecast didn't pan out so well. Temperatures were expected to be above average. Because of a cold January, they were below average. Rainfall, nowhere near average. No, it was much drier than average. And snowfall, the trends were showing below average, but it overachieved with over 4 inches of snow. It was the snowiest and driest winter in over 10 years. Now, if you look back at past La Nina patterns, very similar seasons like last year, going back to the early 70s as well, most tend to be a little bit warmer. But look at last year. It was completely opposite. It was colder than average. You had a whole monthly period of January that was cold. And similar past patterns do show that even though the season is warm, some individual months are colder. How about rainfall? Well, typically during a weak La Nina event, typically we're at or just above average with rainfall. But last year, complete opposite. It was much drier, sending us into drought heading into the spring season. We're hopeful we don't see a repeat of that heading to the winter months. Likewise, the snowfall, if you look at just the statistics alone, statistically, all the other subsets show way below average snowfall. Not none, just way below average, but last year overachieved with over 4 inches of snow on 2 separate events in January and in February. But when you look at past patterns to project what could happen in this season ahead, you got to remember no 2 seasons are alike. Also, the in-play of the season with the Arctic oscillation, polar vortex, intrusion of cold air, that could create colder periods at times, and some of those past patterns have shown months that were actually colder than average. Some of the 45-day out models showing us now we might see some of that come into play during December, so that's possible. But either way, the La Nina is expected to weaken to a neutral phase by late winter, early spring, which could mean more severe storm threats. That's something to watch on the other side of winter. I think the NOAA Winter Outlook has covered this very well. It follows very similar the past patterns and the current computer model projections where we're trending where temperatures will be just a little bit above average. The polar jet being part just toward north, so we'll have some intrusions of cold air at times, but not all the time. Likewise, with rainfall, maybe not as dry as last year, pushing a little farther south of the more active storm track, it could mean more rain for us, but at the same time, not going to rule out some snowfall with that as well. So look at the old synopsis here for the winter. Temperatures, again, based on past patterns, could trend above average, but again, there's going to be monthly, even weekly periods that can be below average with cold air intrusions coming in. Rainfall projected to be a little bit closer to average and not as dry as last year. And snowfall is always that wild card category because we average a low amount anyway, only 2.5 for the winter season, but you got to add in there March, which pushes the annual amount to about 3.6. We'll keep it near average for the season. Understand the stats show below average, but like last year, 1 or 2 events could overachieve your season. So we'll just keep it there. Overall, the storm track we have, a little bit better chance of snow north than south across our viewing area. No matter what happens this season, folks, we got you covered every step of the way. One day, 1 week, 1 storm system at a time, and I got you covered on social media and all these platforms as we'll live stream when necessary and keep you updated as we've done for so many years in the past.
All right.